I'm Jim Leff. I'm a food writer and I founded the Chowhound website. Like any chowhound, I've got my quests. A big one is finding great cookies. I'm really into cookies. And some of the best ones I've ever had are made by this mysterious guy named Vaughn, who lives way out in Connecticut. He's a friend of some of my friends, and for years I was begging them to try to get Vaughn to give up the recipe for the cookies. Finally, he did, but the recipe was kind of weird. All the measurements were in weight, not volume, and there was a mysterious note about how different oatmeals have different effects. I got the feeling Vaughn was holding back. So I emailed him and asked if I could come over and videotape the process. Now the thing is, Vaughn's enigmatic. He's hard to pin down. It took months to persuade him. But finally he said okay, and I drove up to Connecticut to find out the story behind these incredible cookies. But Vaughn started off right from the beginning with a devastating bombshell. It was the last thing I expected to hear.
The recipe came off the top of an oatmeal box, Quaker oatmeal box. So there's nothing magic about.
Well, then why do your cookies taste so unlike any other oatmeal cookies?
A couple of reasons. One is I go by weight rather than volume.
Well, why is that important?
That's the only way to be accurate. So I do it by weight, and that gives a consistency. The only other thing that really I've done is I've added Heath bar bits to them.
Do you make your own Heath bar bits?
Oh, no.
Do you feel like your cookies always turn out the same?
Yes, that's the one thing that
Consistency.
I am proud of. I think they are consistent.
Are you still strictly following the oatmeal box recipe aside from the Heath bars, or is it evolved?
No, it's the oatmeal box recipe, basically. What can I say?
I've had a million oatmeal cookies in my life. I can't tell that any of them were made by the recipe on the box, but some of them must have been.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't they taste like yours?
I don't know. It works. I mean,
How long have you been making them?
Oatmeal cookies?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. 20 years?
20 years. So 1990 around?
No, earlier than that.
80s?
More like 80s, yeah.
Well, greatness is magic. And, and you know, one of the characteristics of magic is you just never know. You know, again, I will, actually, this will be part of this presentation. I'm going to try making them from the oatmeal box recipe. It's not going to be like your cookies. It's not. Because the magic is that extra something. It's the undefinable, more than the sum of the parts thing.
Yeah. Again, you know, precision is important, and that's why I use sticks of Crisco. You know, the hardest thing in the world to measure correctly is shortening. 7 ounces. 7.2.
Well, why didn't you take the 0.2 ounces out?
Uh,
You just dumped it in the bowl. You got done telling me how precise you are.
See, now you screwed me up.
Sorry, it's not my fault. Let me just get the brand of that brown sugar here.
Okay.
Stop and Shop, dark brown sugar.
What else? I mean,
Stop and Shop didn't get to you for this, did they? No. All right, just checking.
Okay. This time I just put that in because it's not that precise. Okay. So a total of 14 ounces.
There's a certain non-linearity here.
Okay. And just cream it up. I know nothing about cooking techniques, really, seriously, you know.
It's all about the cookies, right? I mean, do you cook anything else really good? Do you make like stupendous lasagna?
No.
Nothing as good as the cookies?
Nothing as good as the cookies, no. I'm really a very careless cook. You know, whenever I'm cooking anything else, I vary from the recipe just out of laziness or lack of ingredient. Now, most cooks, when they say cream, the sugar, they get a lot creamier than I do. These are, say, large, but I'm a farm boy. You know, to me, a large egg is a lot bigger than this.
Did you raise ostriches?
No, just plain old chicken. I never use a beater for any of my cooking because it's just too much trouble to set it up and take it apart when you're done. Again.
Vanilla. Okay. Stop and Shop.
So what else? I'm very puzzled at all this fuss.
Sometimes the best food in the world comes from supermarket stuff. Did you ever work professionally as a cookie baker?
No. Good Lord, no. I ran a dishwashing machine in the Navy.
That's close. That's food service.
Yeah. To me, this is important. I'm going to measure all the rest of the dry ingredients first before I do anything else, because I want to get everything in the oven as quickly as possible after the baking soda gets in. Flour.
Okay, so how much baking soda is this?
A teaspoon.
1 teaspoon.
The salt. Over here.
Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop.
So how much of this?
Get another teaspoon. I might go a little bit short on the salt simply because, well, the Heath bars are
A little salty.
a little salt in them. So you can mix that up. Okay, open up.
What's the weight on this?
9 ounces.
Go ahead.
Turns out to be just a half a container. About a half a cup of nuts.
Okay. Let me
That's
just get the
actually-
chopping texture.
That should have been finer. I would like it finer, but anyway, too late. And then about a half a cup of Heath bar bits.
You're not measuring it? You started off with this whole talk about precision. So that's about a half a cup? It looks like less to me. It looks like
It's
a
a
quarter
little.
cup.
It's a little less. It'll still be close enough. Okay. See, now I've got all my dry ingredients mixed out so that I can get everything from here to the oven as quickly as possible.
Okay, go. Here goes the flour.
I probably should have put them together in a bigger container and mixed them up, you know, among themselves. You know, this might be an important part of these cookies, is the crushing them down to about a half inch thick. I think that might be significant. And you know, I don't measure. You know, you can have a feel.
You're pretty even. In fact, remarkably even.
Surprisingly. And I will vary from 36 to 40 cookies.
You know, even the look of them raw and crude like this, you can even perceive their greatness.
And
So 350, was that what you said?
yeah, I'm going to do actually about 15 minutes, but I do it in 2 phases.
You put them fairly low in the oven, I see.
Yeah, what you may not have seen is that they're
Yeah.
sitting on top of another tray. Cookie tray, an old beat up rusty one that is there just to keep the bottoms from cooking too much. You see what I mean?
Is it directly on top?
Oh yeah, it's sitting.
Sitting in it.
Yeah, it's sitting in it.
You know, there's a certain Keebler elf genius to the arrangement of these and the uniformity. I think, would you agree that like a great deal of the skill in these cookies is the way you put them on the sheet?
I think it might be. I'm going to sneak a look.
Okay, we put in another tray.
Yeah. Yeah, I put a tray in down where the first one
But
started.
the top tray doesn't have a double tray.
No.
You only
I
put
mean,
a
the top
double
tray-
on the bottom one.
Yeah, the top tray is protected by the bottom one, basically. You can get a nice brown cookie without having dark brown
Yep.
bottom. If you cook a cookie the right amount of time and temperature, and I haven't figured it out, it will raise and then it will hold there. If you don't cook it quite that far, it will collapse a little bit. I don't think these are going to collapse.
They're perfect.
Yeah, you're going to have that little bit of air inside. Yeah,
You're doing this about a minute after they came out of the
about a
oven.
minute, yeah. That's right. Ooh, perfect.
You nailed it.
I think I did. See, that one collapsed a little bit, but that's all right. I'll try this one. See, that one is not quite as successful.
Oh my God.
Is that right?
Oh.
I give up.
The sweetness is perfect.
Is it?
Everything's perfect. It's basically everything you ever wanted from a cookie. It's the last cookie. The final cookie.
Okay. Well, this batch did come out very good.
And the
Very well.
texture, your teeth sort of slide between the mushy things and hit crunchy things. And
Well,
it's-
that's what I like about if they don't collapse. You know, you will get the crunch, and you'll get the sweet, and there's a little kind of, well, that one doesn't really have it, but these will have a little bit of airiness in them.
So Vaughn, why don't you work on chocolate chips?
I'm anti-chocolate chip.
How so?
Oh, I think they would fight with the Heath bar.
You don't have to add Heath bar, do you?
No, I guess you could do it with chocolate chip, and a lot of people have. I've had these things with Heath bars. I had so many different versions of this cookie. So are people going to be able to follow that recipe precisely and get it precisely the same results? I don't know anybody who has made it the same way that I do.
But we started off by saying that you just used the recipe from the Quaker Oats box.
Yeah.
Vaughn, you're an enigma within an enigma,
Oh, yeah,
and I
okay,
don't
all
think
right.
I don't think I've pinned much down, but I think we've gotten further into the
Oh, well.
inner meaning of the recipe.
But you see how much care
Ah,
and I give to ingredients and
yes.
the source of ingredients.
Super
and
Stop
things
and
like
Shop.
that. The only thing I would change, and this would be only for myself, I think, would be to use the regular long cooked oats rather than the quick. Let's see if this is ready yet. Ooh, I think they're right. Don't you?
I do. God, I do.
So the question is, how do you create stupendous results from a boring recipe and dumb ingredients? Maybe it's the little touches, the extra cookie sheet to modulate the heat, the careful measurement, the Heath bar pieces. But are those things really enough? No, they're not. Like I said, when the whole amounts to much more than the sum of its parts, that's magic. It's what human beings do at their very best. Sarah Boyle makes you cry singing that sappy song. Steve Jobs makes a simple MP3 player and people wait online for hours to get one. The problem is that most magicians labor in obscurity, but they're rare and they deserve appreciation. And so I made this video so you'll always remember Vaughn and his miraculously great cookies.